Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining in. Welcome back to Ol'SargeCollects. I want to start this video off by saying thank you to all those who are currently serving our country in the armed forces. Tomorrow, May 20th, is Armed Forces Day, and I just want to have a special message for those who are currently serving. I retired after 20 plus years in the United States Army, and I understand the hardships and the struggles and the sacrifices that y'all have had to make to serve this great country. And so, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your, all those sacrifices that you're making. Thank you for protecting our way of life. And this world may get crazy sometimes, but you really are valued. You really are serving, a higher calling. So thank you again. All right, on to the topic of this video. So I'm starting a new series, and I'm going to be covering the 1934 to 1936 Diamond Stars set. By far, this is my favorite set in the hobby, and I currently have about 85% of this set complete. There are 108 cards in the set, plus variations, and I'll be covering these numerically. There are a lot of Hall of Famers in this set. This set is very unique, and it is in a Art Deco design of the 1930s. So I love the Art Deco design, and the artistry within this set really appeals to me, which is why I love this set. So card number one is of Lefty Grove. It's a very difficult card to find in decent condition, and so I don't have this card yet. I'm still waiting for the right opportunity, but I'm going to start off with card number two, which is a Hall of Famer, and that is Al Simmons. So I have this card in a SGC3. This card is from 1935, and it's got a green back. This set has either green backs or blue backs. And on the back, you won't find really a bio for the players. You'll find more of like playing tips for the youngsters. So this one shows batting tips, and it talks about the follow through. And so, all right, a little bit about Al Simmons. I'm going to tell you a little bit about his bio, and I'm going to tell you what I specifically like about each card. So, Al Simmons, aka Bucketfoot Al, was born in 1902 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He made his major league debut on April 15th, 1924, for the Philadelphia Athletics. Al was an outfielder, and he won 2 consecutive World Series in 1929 and 1930 under the leadership of Connie Mack and the Philadelphia Athletics. Now, aside from the Philadelphia Athletics, he also played for the White Sox, where he's portrayed here in this card. Also the Detroit Tigers, the Washington Senators, the Boston Braves, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Boston Red Sox. So some of his career statistics. At the time of his retirement, he had the most hits in the American League. He had 2,927 hits, so just shy of that 3,000 mark. And he had 307 home runs, and his career batting average was 334, so that was really good. He was a 3-time All-Star, a 2-time American League batting champ, and he died in 1946 at the age of 54 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1953. So that's a little bit about Al Simmons. Now, what I like about this card specifically, I like the red sky. I like the detail in the glove. And then the thing I like most about it is you can see his cleat you can see the spike on his cleats, which I think is a very interesting detail for this card. You don't see that too often. All right, so that's Al Simmons. Sorry about the glare. I've been trying to work with that lately. I'll see what I can do. All right, the next card is Rabbit Marinville. Card number 3 in the set. This is in an SGC4. This card was from 1935, and it is also a greenback. This one has a fielding tip for the double play. All right, Rabbit Marinville. A little bit about him. He's the oldest player in this lineup. He was born in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts. His full name is Walter James Vincent Marinville. He was a second baseman and a shortstop, and he made his major league debut on September 10th, 1912 for the Boston Braves. In 1918, he was in World War I in the U.S. Navy. So, Rabbit, thank you for your service. So the teams he played for the Boston Braves, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Chicago Cubs, the Brooklyn Robins, and the St. Louis Cardinals. He was a World Series champion with the Boston Braves. His batting average was .258. He accumulated 2,605 hits and 28 home runs. He retired in 1935, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame a few months after his death in 1954, and he was inducted mainly for the strength of his defensive abilities. So he died in 1954 at the age of 62 in Queens, New York. And what I like about this card is I like the yellow sky, and I like the Art Deco building in the background, the blue wall, and the flag in the background as well. So a lot of good detail in these cards. All right. The next card is one of my favorite cards in the set, and that is card number 4 of a player called Buddy Meyer, and this is in an SGC 4.5. This card is from 1934, and it has a blue back, and the fielding tip is touching the runner. So Buddy Meyer was a second baseman, and here's a little bit about him. His full name was Charles Solomon Meyer. He was born in 1904 in Ellisville, Mississippi. He made his major league debut as a second baseman on September 26, 1925 for the Washington Senators. He played almost his entire career with the Washington Senators, other than 2 years, 1927 and 1928, where he played for the Boston Red Sox. So, interesting note about Buddy Meyer. In 1933, he was involved in what many consider to be baseball's most violent brawl between him and a Yankees player by the name of Ben Chapman. And I'll do a separate video on that brawl when I show Ben Chapman's card. I don't really know a lot of details on it now, but what I do know is that it was so violent that it involved the fans. So his career stats, he had a batting average of .303. He accumulated 2,131 hits and 38 home runs. He was a 2-time All-Star, an AL stolen base leader, and an AL batting champ. And he did not make the Hall of Fame. And he died at the age of 70 in 1974 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So that's my neck of the woods. So that's a little bit about Buddy Meyer. Now, what I love about this card is, again, he's a second baseman, and so he's got a runner that slid into second base, and it caused some dust to pop up, and that's represented here in this card. I really like that detail. And of course, I like all the Art Deco colors, the pops of blue and the blue sky and the green grass, and I love the contrast of all the colors. I also like the detail in his uniform and that glove in the top right corner. So, again, one of my favorite cards. Sorry about the glare. Can't seem to fix it. I'm working on it. Anyway, last card. Last card is of Tom Bridges, and this is in an SGC 6. This card is from 1935. Card number 5, a green background. Green back, And the back on this talks about pitching tips and how to grip the baseball. And a little bit about Tom Bridges. He was born Thomas Jefferson Davis Bridges, born in 1906 in Gordonsville, Tennessee. He's a right-handed pitcher. He made his major league debut on August 13th, 1930, and played his entire career with the Detroit Tigers. He had a couple of run-ins with Babe Ruth. On his first major league pitch, he got Babe Ruth to pop out. And then he also surrendered Babe Ruth's 700th home run on July 13th, 1934. So the year before this card was issued. He missed the entire 1944 season due to his service in the U.S. Army during World War II. So Tom, thank you for your service. And Tom Bridges and Hank Greenberg share the distinction of being the only two players in Detroit Tigers history to play in 4 World Series for the team. Those years being 1934, 1935, 1940, and 1945. So Tom retired in 1946, and after he came back from World War II, he was never the same. So I don't really know what he experienced over there, but when he came back, he got involved in heavy drinking, and he just wasn't the same player after that. However, over his lifetime, he accumulated 1,607 strikeouts. He had a lifetime ERA of 3.57, and his win-loss record was 194 over 138. He was a 6-time All-Star, a 2-time World Series champion, and an AL wins leader, and a 2-time AL strikeout leader. So Tom died in 1968 at the age of 61 in Nashville, Tennessee. And what I like about this card is the red sky, the contrast of colors with yellow, red, and green. And I like the Art Deco design buildings in the background. Also, I like the detail of his uniform. All right, so that concludes my first video, episode 1 of the 1934 to 1936 Diamond Stars set. And I want to thank you for staying with me through the whole episode. Tune in next week for episode number 2. And until then, y'all have a great weekend. And recognize your service members. And take care. Bye.